Imagine that you're talking to your computer and it talks back. Not just robotic answers, but full smart conversations, like a real person. You ask it to write a poem, explain a scientific idea, help with your homework, or even plan your wedding. And it does it in seconds. That's not a sci-fi movie anymore, that's ChatGPT. But what exactly is ChatGPT? Where did it come from, and how does it actually work? In this video, we'll explore the fascinating story of how ChatGPT came to life, what the name really means, how it was developed, and what it might mean for our future. Think of ChatGPT as a very smart student who read almost the entire internet. And from here comes its name, ChatGPT. The first part is easy. Chat because it's made to have conversations with people. The second part, GPT, stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Sounds complicated, right? Don't worry, we'll break it down. Generative means it can create something, in this case, text. Pre-trained means it has already learned a huge amount of information before you even ask it anything. And Transformer is the name of the technology, the brain behind how it understands and produces language. So, in simple words, ChatGPT is a computer program that was trained to understand human language, and it can respond in a smart, helpful way. Kind of like a super assistant that has read most of the internet. To understand how ChatGPT came to be, let's take a quick journey back in time. In the early days of computing, people dreamed of teaching machines to understand and speak human language. But for decades, this was very hard. Computers don't think like humans. They follow rules, and human language is full of exceptions, emotions, and hidden meanings. Things began to change in the 2010s. A new technology called the Transformer, invented in 2017 by researchers at Google, gave computers a much better way to understand language. This was a big deal. It was like giving machines glasses to finally see the big picture. Then came OpenAI, a company founded in 2015 with a bold mission to build safe and powerful artificial intelligence that benefits everyone. They started building language models, which are systems trained to read and write like humans. They released GPT-1 in 2018. It wasn't big compared to today's standards, but it worked. Was basically a proof of concept showing that unsupervised pre-training plus fine-tuning on specific tasks could outperform traditional models in language tasks. It was small compared to today's models, so it could only generate short, sometimes nonsensical responses. It couldn't maintain context across long conversations. It showed the idea worked, but wasn't yet practical for wide use. Then GPT-2 came in 2019, much better. It could generate much more coherent text, longer passages, and do tasks it wasn't directly trained for, like translation, summarization, just by giving it examples. The first real zero-shot learning in language models, but still not perfect. It still struggled with factual accuracy, logical consistency, and hallucinated information, making up facts confidently. Because it could generate very realistic but sometimes dangerous text, OpenAI initially didn't release the largest version right away out of concern for misuse. In 2020, GPT-3 arrived. This was massive. It could write essays, answer questions, and even tell jokes. Even though it still had its own limitations, hallucinated facts lacked true understanding or reasoning, could produce biased or offensive content learned from the internet, and needed massive computing power, making it impractical for many to run directly. And finally, in November 2022, they released ChatGPT, a version of GPT that anyone could talk to, for free, through a simple chat window. It was an instant hit. Over 1 million people used it in the first 5 days. Teachers, students, writers, developers, everyone was amazed. Some even called it the beginning of a new era. Now you might be wondering, how does it do all this? How can a computer hold a conversation like a human? Let's simplify it. Think of ChatGPT like a very smart student who read almost everything on the internet: books, articles, websites, billions of words. It didn't memorize them exactly, but it learned the patterns of how we speak and write. So when you ask it a question, it doesn't know the answer like a human does. Instead, it predicts what words should come next, based on everything it has seen before. For example, if you say, once upon a... Most people expect the next word to be time. ChatGPT works kind of like that, but on a much, much larger scale. It uses a system called a transformer. which, as we said before, is a type of artificial neural network architecture introduced in 2017 by researchers at Google in their paper, Attention is All You Need. Transformers introduced a new mechanism called self-attention. The model looks at every word in a sentence at the same time, instead of processing words one by one. And it calculates how much attention each word should pay to every other word. This helps it understand context, like that in the sentence, for example, the cat sat on the mat because it was warm. The word it refers to the mat, not the cat. Self-attention helps figure that out. This technology helps ChatGPT focus on the most important words in a sentence, kind of like how we pay attention to key words when we read. It breaks everything down into tiny parts called tokens, like word pieces, and then uses math to figure out what comes next. The result? It sounds like it understands you, but really it's predicting what makes the most sense. It's not magic, it's math, but it feels like magic. Now, as for today, what does ChatGPT do to us, and what about the near future impact? We already see that ChatGPT is changing how we live and work. In schools, students use it to get help with essays or math. In offices, it writes emails, reports, and even codes. Businesses use it to answer customer questions or generate product ideas. Some people even use it as a kind of friend, someone to talk to when they're feeling lonely. This brings amazing opportunities. It can save time, spark creativity, and help people who struggle with reading or writing. It levels the playing field, but it also brings new problems. Some students cheat by letting it do their homework. Some jobs might disappear as AI takes over simple writing or support tasks. And because ChatGPT doesn't always know what's true, it can sometimes spread wrong information without meaning to. And let's be honest to each other, most of us do not go after ChatGPT and search if it gives the right answer or its sources are reliable or it was made up. So, just like any powerful tool, it depends on how we use it. Well, some experts believe that tools like ChatGPT are just the beginning. As these systems get smarter, they might be used to help doctors diagnose diseases, help scientists write research, or even help governments make decisions. On one hand, it could solve huge problems from climate change to education to healthcare. On the other hand, it raises big questions. Who controls these systems? Can they be trusted? How do we make sure they're fair and safe? That's why companies like OpenAI and others are now working not just to build smarter AI, but more responsible AI. To sum things up, what have we learned? ChatGPT is a chatbot, but also much more. It's a window into a future where computers don't just follow orders, but talk, learn, and even help us think. It was built using years of research, a massive amount of text, and a powerful idea called the transformer. It doesn't understand like we do, but it can still do amazing things. It's already changing the way we write, learn, and work. And in the future, it might change even more, if we're ready for it. The rise of ChatGPT isn't just about technology. It's about people, how we use it, what we do with it, and how we make sure it helps everyone. In my opinion, ChatGPT is an amazing example of the incredible technological revolution we're living through right now. But at the same time, it's also unsettling, and even a bit frightening. It's wonderful to have a tool that can assist with so much in our lives or help us improve our work. But when it starts doing all the work that we are supposed to do and we are being paid for it, is that really ethical? And what about education? If ChatGPT or AI is doing assignments or projects for us, what's the real value of earning a degree? Can we truly call ourselves qualified if we didn't do the work ourselves? There's nothing wrong with asking for help or using AI to make our lives easier. But the big question is, where do we draw the line? Will the fears we once saw in science fiction movies actually come true? Could we reach a point where machines and technology do so much of our work that job opportunities gradually disappear, or even vanish completely? How would we live in a world like that? Isn't meaningful work a fundamental part of our lives? These concerns are real and worth thinking about. But remember, when you chat with ChatGPT, you're not just talking to a machine. You're interacting with the result of one of the biggest leaps in human technology. And it's only just getting started. And how we choose to use it responsibly and ethically will shape the future for all of us. What do you think about using ChatGPT and AI? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and do not forget to subscribe.